All right, guys, we're back. Episode 9. What I'm going to talk about tonight is navigating through injuries, working around injuries, and recuperating through injuries or after injuries or setbacks. So, what you just saw there, that was my neck back in 2015. That was the onset of the pain and pretty much the onset of my retirement because the pain had gotten so excruciating that I had to get a neck surgery. It was pinched nerves that was leading to certain areas. And accompanying with that was atrophy. And there was only so much I could do at the time because I did not have electrostem. I didn't have the proper tools to actually activate and continuously go forward with my career. So, coupled with the pain and just kind of just getting burnt out, I pretty much retired back in 2016 because 2015 was my first neck surgery. And with that being said, I was like, you know what? Let me get back on stage one more time. Let me see what I can do, which was the dumbest thing I could have done. And I'll admit to you, that's why I'm sitting here talking to you guys. Because the dumb things that I've done, I don't want you at all to do. The surgery was, I want to say, October of 2015. I was able to train by December. I was back on stage. My last pro show was at California State, 2016, was May. So pretty much 7 months of training. And I will show before and afters of how I looked, which I probably couldn't have won like even a local show. And what I look like 7 months later. If I had taken a time properly, like I'm going to teach you guys, and chill, if I give myself a year, I probably wouldn't be back up to my normal weight and what I look like. But once I saw the pictures, especially like I said, coupled with how I was feeling, the pain was still there after the first neck surgery. So eventually I had to go back in 2019, as you saw in that first initial picture, and get the other 3 levels done. So the first one was C3, C4, and then 2019, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7. So anyways, let's talk about injuries. The shit happens. They slow you down. They mess with your head. And honestly, it makes you feel like everything's slipping away, all your gains. But listen, the truth is, injuries do not have to mean the end all to all your progress. If you think about it and handle it correctly, you can actually come back stronger, smarter, and better than before. So today, I'm going to break down exactly how to rehab injuries properly, work around them, and keep training without making things worse. I'm also going to cover 2 peptides, BPC 157 and TB 500. I personally recommend these, but also for you, I am not a doctor. I do recommend 100% go to your own doctor and get evaluated beforehand before taking any of these things. And I suggest getting it from a good source, a compound pharmacy. Even though you're going to pay more, listen, guys, you're getting good stuff. You know where it's coming from. So these 2 help for accelerating recovery and getting back on the top again faster and even better, whether you're dealing with nagging pain or a serious setback. I got you here, all right? So let's dive into this. Now, first topic on hand is you got to understand what went wrong in the injury that ever happened. Whatever happened, it's usually happened with one or the following mix of these factors: either overuse, doing too much, too soon, or too often; poor form, biomechanics, imbalances, bad technique, weak stabilizers, meaning stabilizer muscles, or lack of recovery, not enough sleep, poor nutrition, dehydration. It will catch up to you guys. You have to keep that in check. If you want to be a top level athlete or whatever it is that you want to do in life, even if you're a businessman, you can't just keep going. Something's going to break. Whether you're going to have a mental breakdown or you're just going to crash or an injury is going to happen because you're not eating properly, you're not eating properly, you're not sleeping properly. It all boils down to these things. You need this in order to continue to go forward, no matter what it is in life. or sudden impact, like traumas, slips, walking off the curb and slipping and shit had happened to me one time, twisting my ankle. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is ridiculous. So mainly a lot of times injuries happen outside the gym. So before diagnosing it on your own, get it diagnosed properly. All right, don't guess, especially if it's serious. Go see a doctor. So these are my keys to recovery. First and foremost, reduce inflammation. The goal is to prevent and control the inflammation and the damage to get worse from what it already is. So some of you already know the price method or price protocol, whatever you want to call it. Or it's going by the RICE. I'll break it down. P, protect. Protect the area. Avoid stress or any further injury, guys. R, rest. Not completely. I'll talk more on that though, but yes, you have to rest, okay? If you're in the gym, oh, you want to be tough, I got to finish this workout, but something just popped or something happened, stop. Don't continue. There's always going to be another day, guys. Even if it's like 6 weeks later, there will be another day. But if you continue and mess it up more, you're just going to be fucking yourself even more. So ice it, reduce the swelling, especially in the first 48 hours. All right, guys. C, compression. Helps with blood flow and it helps with the swelling. E, elevation. If it's swelling, elevate it. You don't want the blood to pool in that area. Now, if it's tendon or ligament injury, expect a longer recovery than muscle injuries. Obviously, since tendons, the blood flow is not as much in those areas as muscles. All right, it's going to take longer to heal. Now, how to accelerate these injuries? The recovery in these injured areas. BPC 157, TB 500. Now, one of the biggest challenges with injuries is, and question is, how long is it going to take to heal? Especially when it comes to tendons, like I said, and ligaments. It's going to take longer than soft tissue damage. This is where BPC 157 and TB come into play. So let's break these two down. BPC 157 is the healing peptide. BPC, body protection compound. It's been known in studies to obviously accelerate tissue repair, muscles, tendons, ligaments, and even gut lining. Helps reduce the inflammation. There was a time where I used it and my digestion really wasn't working the best. I was like, wow, I'm not getting inflamed. I'm not like getting the gas or the food just sitting in there or the acid. Obviously, reducing inflammation and oxidative stress in your body. It improves blood flow to the injured areas, in turn speeding up recovery. Also protects joints and connective tissues from any further damage. So how does it work? It works by stimulating the formation of new blood flows. Blood flow in vessels, which is called angiogenesis. So in turn, that allows better circulation and nutrient delivery to injured areas. Now let's get on to TB 500. I'm going to be going over all this even more once I start doing my monthly workshops. I'll get and dive into everything that I've talked about, even more so. But for now, I'm just going to do a little overview of these things. TB 500. It's another powerful peptide. It works in conjunction and alongside BPC 157. Promotes cell migration, helps cells move to the injured areas to heal faster, increasing flexibility and reducing scar tissue formation in the area as well. Also boosting recovery in tendons, ligaments, and muscles. So one other thing, obviously this helps. It enhances overall recovery time, especially for chronic injuries. A lot of people have chronic injuries because they did not address them in the beginning, so they constantly reoccur. So this peptide here works systemically, meaning it doesn't just target one specific area. A lot of people say, "Oh, you got to, spot inject it in the area that's injured." It promotes healing throughout the whole body. Okay. Now, how to use them together? With BPC 157 and TB, you'll see a lot of compounds now that are mixed together. I don't like that. And I'll tell you why. Because BPC, the half-life is 12 hours. So with BPC 157, I suggest, and that's only my suggestion, what I've done and the research I've looked at, is hit it twice a day. So split your dosage in half, maybe 12 noon or 12 o'clock or 9 a.m., 9 p.m., whatever it is, but 12 hours apart. That one you want to hit closer to the targeted area that's injured. Now, TB 500, that's going to go everywhere in your body. It just distributes throughout the whole body, so it doesn't matter. And that you can hit once a day. Dosage-wise, everybody's different. I'm not going to get into that. So a lot of athletes use these in conjunction for faster recovery and more complete healing, especially with injuries that don't go away. They just continue to reoccur. So what I suggest is, even myself, I'm not competing anymore, but as we age, things break down. So I'll hit these up about twice a year. Run it for like 5 or 6 weeks, twice a year. All right, now obviously, guys, consult with your medical professionals before you do anything to see if you have any pre-existing health conditions. Now on to slowly rehabbing the area, guys. All right, slowly, and I'm going to break this down to you. Progression-based recovery. All right, start with like gentle mobility and activation. So range of motion drills, pain-free movements only. You don't want to push it in the beginning. All right, use bands or light isometric movements to just engage the muscles in the area. Avoid high impact movements until your strength returns. That's going to take time. So you got to prep yourself. If something happens all of a sudden, know right away that, hey, you're going to be out of the game for a bit. But my example was, and I'll relate this to dieting, when I was getting ready for shows. In the beginning, I cheated a lot. And after my first couple shows, I was like, you know what? I can't do this shit anymore. So I thought to myself, food is always going to be there. It's always going to be there. But that fucking show, you only have 12 weeks. So you better get your ass in gear. That food will always be in the grocery store waiting for you to pick up and buy and eat and gorge yourself afterwards, which I don't suggest, but it's going to be there. That show is only one day, and you're going to have to wait a long time to get ready for another show again. So when you have injuries, the gym is going to be there. It's not going anywhere, guys. I know it sucks for having that step back, but it happens. So now, gradually start doing strength work. Body weight exercises first, then light resistance, then progressive overload, all right? And after I got my neck done the second time, the physical therapist actually, which I knew this, I just didn't think about it, he reminded me of things that I had done in the past. I did the Mike Menser routine for a long time. Train very slow, squeeze, and then slow on the negatives, eccentric training. It's a great way to strengthen your tendons and prevent re-injury. And I did that after my second neck surgery, and I was like, God, this is boring. But literally 12 weeks later, and I'll show that again sometime in the future, what I looked like after my second neck surgery, what I did to myself 12 weeks later, and it was nothing crazy. I could break the whole thing down to you. Then step 3, you can fully return to training, but obviously this time train smarter. Slowly increase the weight and volume. Don't rush it. Trust me, you don't want to re-injure yourself. You re-injure yourself the second time, you're more fucked than the first time. So slowly again, increase the weight and the volume. Just take it as like a month. Each week, little by little, increase. And then also keep in your rehab exercises for, obviously, let's say for warm-ups. The whole time I was competing, because I wrestled beforehand, I would stretch whatever muscle I was working out. I would stretch. If I was doing chest, I'd stretch chest in between each set. I'd stretch my front delts. I'd stretch my rear delts. If I was doing buys, I'd stretch my buys. If I was training back, I would stretch my lats. Quads, I'd be stretching my quads in between every set. So make sure you address the root cause of the injury. Don't just go back to your old stupid habits that caused that injury to begin with. You know, some of you have a problem with this. You just want to lift heavy, but listen, guys, you got to train smarter, especially as you get older. Now, once you have this injury, training with an injury, you got to learn how to work around it, okay? Without losing progress. And it can be done. So, let's say, for example, it's not an example, within the next couple months, I'm going to have to get my right shoulder done. I'm going to be in a sling. I'm not going to sit around. Maybe for the first couple of weeks, I can't do anything. So it'll be in a sling. I'll still do my left side. You can still train one side. And research even shows that working the other side, the healthy side, can still help maintain some strength in the injured area. It's called cross education effect, I think. Or let's say, for example, when I get my shoulder done, obviously I cannot do direct stimulation with electrostim on my shoulder because it was going to be cut. But after maybe a few weeks, I can put the pads on my biceps, very light, just to contract them. Obviously, I'm not going to do anything extension or flexion. That's not going to happen. So you just got to be smart about it. Then modify your exercises, okay? Rather than completely stopping, depending on what it is. Knee injury, swap out squats, do leg presses, sled drags, or let's say, for example, seated leg presses on the machine. Not the 45-degree machine, but the machine one with the stack. Shoulder injury, for me, obviously, for years now, I have not done presses. So that's not going to happen. So maybe instead of regular presses, do neutral grip. That worked for a while. Once my shoulder started hurting, I could do neutral press. But now I can't even go up higher than this now. It hurts. So slow controlled reps, isometrics again. Let's say for lower back, focus on your core, guys. A lot of people don't focus on core. All right, avoid excessive spinal flexion and prioritize controlled movements. Controlled movements. You don't want to be slow, swinging things around. If you're doing bent over rows, you don't want to do that. Swinging it up, Use machines for a while till you strengthen your lower back. All right, take your time. Machines, cables. If that causes you or free weights, if it causes you pain or instability, don't use them. Listen to the body, guys. All right, setbacks are going to happen, and injuries are going to happen. If you're lucky and it doesn't happen, good. You got through it. You're great. You're lucky. But mentally, guys, you're going to have to push through. This is where your mental mindset comes into play. Like I talked about in a couple episodes prior. Not just about depression, but even when you're down and you can't train, don't just let yourself go to shit because you can't train. Rearrange your mindset. Think of it like this. Stop thinking of everything like got to be 100%. Like I have to do all or nothing. I used to be like that. Even when I was done competing, I'd go to the gym and my friend's like, Abbas, what are you going to the gym and training like a wild man still? I said, I don't know any other way. And it took me a while to scale back a little bit and think in my head, hey, I'm not getting ready for shows anymore. I don't need to train like that. I don't need to be going heavy. I don't need to be doing crazy supersets, drop sets, negatives. Okay. So even if you can't train like before, you can still maintain and even improve other aspects of your fitness or bring up certain other body parts. Dial in your nutrition even better. Just because you're laying around and waiting for that injury to recover, take time to like optimally work your nutrition into play, work out your mobility, work your weak points. You know, a lot of people don't prioritize these until they're forced to, guys. Like a lot of times when my clients come to me, there may be imbalances in their body. For example, when they're competing, some people may be top heavy, they need more legs. So, hey, listen, your upper body's great, we need more legs. We're going to scale back on your upper body a little bit. So, the recuperation and nutrition that you're taking in is going to go into, helping rebuild your legs and bring up those lagging body parts. Or somebody needs more shoulders or lower back. It's everything I do is tailored per person for their body to bring up their weak points to balance out the physique, guys. Okay. A lot of people are so locked in their head because they don't step outside and look at themselves like, listen, I mean, myself, I had problems with my arms. So what I do, I put arms, let's say the day after, arms would always be off. So I'd recuperate on arms. Or my days on my arms would be a high carb day. All right. So you have to like change little things around that makes a huge difference. I've done it with people who've been in the business for a long time. I'd help them get through their sticking points and reform and rechange their whole body just by little, tweaks. So stay consistent with what you can, and trust me, you will come back. It's just a matter of having some patience, guys. All right. So again, injuries suck, the shit happens, but it's not the end all. The key is to navigate through the setbacks, rehab properly, train smarter, in turn, move forward smarter. Now, guys, if any of you are dealing with soft tissue injuries, tendonitis, or slow healing, again, I'll reiterate, BPC 157, TB 500 can be a game changer if used correctly. Now, the goal is not to just get back and do the same shit. It's to come back stronger than before, but smarter, guys. So take your time, rehab right, keep pushing forward. So anyways, guys, for any of you that have ever dealt with injuries, maybe leave a comment below. Let me know what helped you get over this thing, whatever it was that got you through this, through your recovery, your mental mindset. How did you deal with it? I would love to know. Let's help each other. Let's be a positive force for each other and share great tips that can help each other. Anyways, guys, hope you all enjoyed. See you in the next episode. And that one we'll be talking about life after competing, guys. That's going to be something interesting that a lot of people don't deal with and they don't know how to deal with. Subscribe, like, enjoy, peace out, have a great night.